Yeah, no,
Oh,
sorry for being a bit late. My mum has come
it's
to
okay.
visit, so my mum.
Ah,
Have you got anything you'd
family
like?
first.
Have you got anything you'd like to say to my mum?
Um, Hi, Mum. How are you?
I'll relay that message, and then I'll somehow get the reply back to you somehow.
Like, wicked. Yeah, if you could, urgent.
So yeah, how you doing? I've liked your band for some time, so it's really nice to
Wow, thank you.
yeah, it's really nice to speak.
Mm.
Yeah, what's going on? I know you've just released a new song.
Yes, we have. Well, when was it? It was well, about a month ago, I think. But yeah, called USA. Just in
Yeah.
time for when we went to the USA,
Oh, I see what
which
you've
is
done.
a little bit cheesy. We felt, but a bit of cheese is okay occasionally.
I feel a bit like if you've got a song called USA, you should be saving it for the chaos that is going to reign supreme in the States next year with the presidential election.
Well, yeah, there is that. Well, hopefully it'll have a revival next year. Get it out now, and the revival will come next year when it counts.
How was the States? I feel like I feel like
Mm.
I've been doing this such a long time, and I feel like English bands going to the States used to be something that we used to talk about a lot more. But was it your first time?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the first time playing in the States for sure. It was yeah, it was amazing. We never thought that we would get to go there, and certainly not in this capacity playing in a band, I mean, it's just going over to Europe is exciting, but to go to America just seemed like yeah, seemed like a pipe dream, to be honest. So that's the weird thing with going there was that when I was writing that USA song, I was like I was imagining like I want to write something for America, and I was imagining like us going to America. What do I want to write to play to an American audience? And I was thinking, right, well, just shout USA, just no lyrics other than United States of America. Like that's what I was thinking, and I was imagining us playing this in America, and then. And we had no plans to go there at all at the time. And then a few months later, Royal Blood asked us if we wanted to go. And I thought, fuck, it's almost like a magic potion, that song. I feel like I wished it into existence.
Was there any rock and roll hijinks, or was it you all just sat around on laptops
What's that? When?
when you went to the States?
Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we weren't all sat around on laptops. I don't think we had a couple of cameras following us, which was a bit fun. It was more like Spinal Tap, I think,
Right,
than
okay.
anything.
No,
Um,
it's just funny.
um,
It's one of the great myths of music journalism that when I used to
mm,
edit Kerrang and bands would be after a feature, and we'd say, "Oh, let's do it on the road," uh, and
mm,
you would just get loads of photos of young men in bands messaging their girlfriends back home, or making up
yeah,
stories about why they didn't answer their
yeah,
phone
yeah,
to their girlfriends back home.
yeah.
Uh,
Right, yeah.
but
Well, I was going to say, but surprisingly enough, I mean, I find on tour it's actually quite hard to find the time to be on the phone, really. Like, because you're sort of if you're getting up pretty early to do big drives, especially in America, and then you're in the car or van all day. You get there, you sound check, and then you finish sound check. You have about an hour to eat, and then you play. And then after you play, you go to merch, and then after that, you're back in the van. It's very hard to actually have time to sit around on your phone, but unless it's playing chess, you can find time for chess on the phone. That's our new thing.
what you like at chess?
Terrible.
Oh,
But
mate.
I'm just starting. I'm just starting. I haven't really played. I know how the pieces move, but I haven't. I don't really know any strategy yet. But
Do you
watch this space.
do you call them the correct things? You don't call the rook a castle, do you?
Oh shit.
Or
No.
have I got that right? I hope I've got that right.
I don't know. Yeah, I think. Wait. No, I probably do call it the wrong way. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to speak. I like to be like it's like poker face. I don't know what's going on. I'm just my intuition is guiding me,
You should
and I
know.
lose every time. So
Well, you should know that when I was at primary school, I was the only kid in my year in the senior chess club, and I went to two
sick.
tournaments. And I had this friend who I used to go to their house, and their dad was mad on chess, and he would just spend hours and
Yeah.
hours and hours to me talking about chess, and I'd just be like,
Yeah.
"Can I just go on the Mega Drive with my friend?" But he
Yeah.
talked about chess to me for ages and ages. And I went to this tournament, and I made the person I was playing against in like the quarterfinals cry, and I feel really bad about it. Like I wasn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't like threatening their family or anything. I
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
but there was a little
Yeah.
bit of a. I think I was maybe projecting a vibe of, shall we crack on?
Hooliganism. Right.
Well,
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
The chess
yeah,
hooliganism is a new thing. Maybe
yeah.
started
No.
the hooligan movement of chess.
Has anyone told you that you've got the most punk rock accent of maybe any man I've ever met?
Oh shit! No, I haven't been told that. That's good though. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like any word that you say. I mean, we can test this if you
Mm.
want. Any word that you say sounds punk rock. I mean, it must just be an Essex
Fuck yeah.
thing. I feel a little
Maybe
bit
it is an
like.
Essex thing.
Where are you from in Essex?
So I'm from Colchester, which is
Um,
about an hour outside of London. And well, I was pretty much born and raised here. I lived in London for a little while, but of course, it's very expensive, and I ran out of money. Um, so then I went back to Chelmsford, and now back in Colchester. Now I'm waiting for my lottery ticket to come in, so I can find somewhere else. I want to go live in the Lake District in the mountains, but until the funds are there,
no, it's just a bit of
if they ever
a.
come,
There's a bit of a John Lydon about your accent. I mean,
that's cool.
was John Lydon East
I don't know.
London?
I'm not actually sure exactly where he's from, to be honest. But yeah, well, he's got the voice, punk rock voice to die for, isn't he?
Yeah, you've just got a bit of that. Like a bit, it's a bit sort
Yeah.
of. I know Colchester quite well because
Mm.
I live in Leighton, so
Yeah.
sometimes I'll go. I'm from Yorkshire, but I live in Leighton. Sometimes I'll go watch the Orient
Gotcha.
play Colchester, so I'll go to that
Yeah.
football
Yeah.
ground
Yeah.
that's by the motorway. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bit weird, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw. Is that the Colchester Stadium you're talking about?
yeah,
There.
well, it used to
Yeah.
be. How old are you?
I, I'm 35, but if
Yeah,
anyone asks, 27.
I mean, is that a conversation that you've had with it, like amongst you, like your age?
What about age?
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about it. We joke about it for sure, because there's there is the thing with these creative industries, especially music, where like we worship youth, don't we? And we sort of shun anything above. Once you're out your 20s, it's like, no, you're out.
Yeah,
But
it's so
yeah,
weird.
no, we joke about it for sure. It's but we're not going to start lying. Well, we have lied about our age in a jokey way before. But you know, but generally speaking,
You,
say it is.
you know that band, The Hold Steady?
Don't think so.
Oh, mate, they're
Hold
amazing.
steady.
The Hold Steady,
I
yeah.
recognise the name, but I'm not sure I know the music.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're a bit like,
Hmm.
I suppose they're a bit like Replacement C, maybe. But,
Cool.
like every record they make is amazing, and their storytelling within the songs are brilliant. They get compared to like Springsteen quite a lot, but
That's cool.
they're like a punk band. But when they broke, they were 35-ish, and I remember being at
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
NME, and the joke in the office was always that, that band, The Old Steady, because it sounds a bit like Hold, and
Oh, it's awful.
they were 35 years old, and like
Yeah,
people in the office were just like, they're
yeah.
di-
Take the piss.
why are we championing these dinosaurs? Great,
Yeah, it's
great,
weird, isn't it? I mean,
crazy.
yeah, I don't know why. I feel like there's when you get a bit older, you've always had more time to sort of experience more things and listen to more bands. And in theory, your music should be better
Yeah,
than
of
when you're in your
course.
20s and feel like one of these Kurt Cobain or something. But yeah, I don't
But
know. It's
I,
weird.
I
Yeah, it's
think
weird.
young people used to look older though, didn't they? That's the thing that's weird. It's like when I was
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I
I was
used to
going to say.
look at Kurt Cobain and be like, he knew everything, and then you're like, he was
Mm,
27. He was 27 when he died. Like,
I know, like it's kind of hard to get your head around, isn't it? You sort of because I look at like people like Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix or whatever, and I look at them and I think, oh, I always picture them as older than me. And the reality is I'm nearly 10 years older than they were when they died. Which is like should be writing some better songs by now, really.
Oh, steady on, steady on. You've got a knack for new wave pop magic. Is it
Oh, thanks, man.
who writes in the band?
Mostly me, but me and Will jammed the first record. Me and him jammed in my dad's garage, just like because I play drums, so I'd play drums and he'd play guitar, and we would record like these scrappy sort of ideas, and then I would take those rough ideas and sort of put bass on them and all that stuff, and figure out, and build the songs from those jams. And that's how we did most of the first record. I wrote about 3 or 4 on the first record on my own, and then. Yeah, but on this one so far, I've pretty much written. I think there's one song me and Will have done on this new one from a while back. But this cycle of this album has been just me on my own. It's been a bit weird, and it's been great, but it's difficult. I've actually that's what I'm doing right now. Actually, I've been in my studio, okay, my dad's garage, just trying to finalize these songs. But yeah, no, I'm glad you like it though, man. That's really cool. It's fun, really fun.
Do you think, I mean, the word bigger in 2023 in the context of music is a bit of a loaded term, really. I don't even really know what that means anymore. But you do seem like, I do think your band are kind of, you seem kind of out of time, if that makes sense. Like I think, like when I listened to the record, I was like, if I was at NME in 2003, we'd probably be talking about putting this band on the cover. But also even that sound of those bands that were so popular then, you could almost say that, that sound was sort of popular maybe 25 years before that, really, that sort of New York new wave thing. Do you think you should be bigger?
I mean, I feel like in the world we are living in now, I feel like we don't do enough of the social kind of media thing, which I think would make us bigger. But we're not, we're not sort of naturally, I don't want to say we're not good at that. We do post things and we make stuff, but we're not like, it's not, the music is the main thing for us, and I feel like we could be bigger for sure. Whether we should be bigger, I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, it'd be nice to be bigger, but I mean, I kind of feel like I would do this forever for free. I would like financial success or whatever kind of success, people talk about. Like I've been doing it for free my whole life. I've been doing it as for fun, and it's still the same now. Like it would be amazing to get to a point where I could pay rent from doing this, for sure. So it'd be nice to be big enough to do that. But yeah, should we be bigger? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, do I say yes or no to that? I don't know. Yes, we should be bigger, for fuck's sake.
Well, I mean, it's, like I say, that I don't even really know what that means, really. I think that being famous looks rubbish. Like,
oh, it looks awful,
doesn't it? Like,
it terrifies me, to be honest.
Yeah, like even sometimes I've like had people. I mean, who am I? But sometimes I've had people like say they know me on the tube, and there was one time I went on Twitter and someone had taken a photo of me asleep on the tube, and I was like,
no way.
I was like, imagine being Kim Kardashian. Like,
I know it would be,
and I think the dream, awful. I think the dream is to almost kind of cultivate an audience which can support you, but you can do your own thing as well, which doesn't seem beyond the realm of possibility for your band. It feels like you've got grow that.
Yeah, I think like there's that sort of saying, isn't there? Once you have 1,000 mailing list subscribers, you can earn a living from it. If you utilize it the right way. But yeah, I mean, the thought of being super famous is not something I want. I would like. It's great when you go to shows and people come and they love the music. That's obviously amazing. But the thought of not being able to sort of go about your daily business, because everybody, once you come off stage and do the whole rock star thing, you're just a person that shits and eats and goes to Asda, so once you can't do those normal things, it would be a bit, I think it'd be awful, to be honest. And I've heard famous people say how, you work so hard to get successful and become this well-known person, and then once you get it, you can't turn it off. And you're like, and so many people say they wish they could go back and turn it off, because you know, just people just knowing who you are, and like, especially if it's like, you know, worldwide kind of A-list celebrity fame, I think it would really fuck your head. How would you make friends? Like,
Well,
how would you ever make friends?
yeah, and it's
You
also,
know?
I just don't think that people do even know who you are, if that makes sense. Like I always,
Oh,
I always,
exactly.
I always find that when I interview people, I try really, really hard to like be authentic in the way that I present
Mm,
them. I just think there's a real sort of responsibility to do that because there's been
for
times
sure.
sometimes when I've seen, I don't know, sometimes I've read things that people have written about me and I've gone, no, that's not,
Yeah,
that's not accurate, surely,
yeah,
it's
no,
wild.
totally.
It's
I
wild.
think with us, I think the thing with being famous is like, you know, and you learn this just growing up anyway. Like, you know, what you know, no one can get in your head and know who you really are and what you really think or feel about anything. So you have to be very careful about how you present yourself, because you know you might say something that could be taken the wrong way as a joke, but then that person doesn't isn't in your mind. They might like, you know, so it's so easy to become, for people to get the wrong idea about who you are. I think if you're famous, you know, you have to think before you speak and act in a, you know, to make sure you're, you know, sort of the nice person that you know you are, the good person you know you are inside is actually showing out on the outside, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer, and I could probably attribute this belief to Uh, I could probably attribute this belief to someone, but I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. But I do feel
Mm.
like often when people say things about you, it's a projection of their own fears
Oh, for
and
sure.
worries. That's quite weird when you
Yeah.
realise that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there was a
Yeah.
therapist that once said to me, they were like, "It's always about them," and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's good.
Yeah. Shit.
That was worth giving you 120 quid for." You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it is a lot easier for people to comment about other people than it is to look at themselves, isn't it? You know, I mean, everybody has suffered with
I like
that, you know, that sort of like,
I
it's,
like you, Bobby. I like you.
thank you. I like you too.
Oh, mate, let's run off into the sunset together. I, I, wa-
Yeah.
I was thinking just because your music is so, and I mean this as a compliment, but I'm going to use this word I'm, I'm going to clear my throat and say this is a compliment, but because your music is so kind of snotty,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean by
Yeah,
that?
yeah, for sure.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's so sort of scampish, and
It's quite
I was a bit,
aggressive. Like,
yeah, but also just
well,
kind
sort of.
of, yeah, like.
Hmm.
It sort of reminds me of like sort of, I don't know, sort of those early Supergrass singles or something, but with a bit more
Oh
of a sort
yeah,
of New York kind of, And
yeah. We have been told. Sorry, go on.
no, 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 carry on.
I was going to say we had. I've forgotten his name. Yeah, Gary Crowley at BBC Radio London when we first started said he said that we were 200 miles an hour supergrass.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Gary's been on this podcast. I wish that
Yeah.
I wish that he kind of did more stuff within the
Mm.
mainstream. Really, like I think he's such an
He's,
amazing voice and music,
yeah.
and
Oh yeah. He's
yeah,
been around for yonks as well. He's like such a wealth of knowledge of you know,
oh
bands and
yeah,
artists and
yeah, I must get him back
music
for a
generally.
part two on the podcast, to be honest. But
Mm.
yeah, no, he's nailed it there, and I'm a little bit irritated that
Mm.
he said that to you before I got to say that. But there you go. But no, I just thought, I guess I just thought from your music, I was like, oh well, he's gonna
He's
be.
going to be a wanker.
I don't know about I don't know about wank. I don't know about
Yeah.
wanker.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. I was expecting a sort of well-rounded, empathetic, thoughtful man.
Well, it's taken
Um,
a long time. I'm 35.
were you not
Yeah.
always that?
I think I was inside, but like I said, you know, I didn't always show it. And I think that's the problem, is that you expect people to know who you are, and no one knows who you are. You know, no matter what you say to them. So you have to yeah, you have to let the good person that you know is inside you, like I said earlier, come to the
Oh,
surface.
mate, I love people. I love people who understand the big things. This is amazing.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like you should
Yeah,
be.
it's one of the funnest things about being alive, though, isn't it? It's trying to figure out how to be at peace, you know? And
Do you not?
that's
Do you not
so,
think
so
the game's kind of rigged though, isn't it? Because it's like
oh yeah,
you
big
work it
time.
you work it out, and then you die.
Yeah,
What's that about?
yeah.
You know?
I know.
But
It's like it's hard. It's hard to try and figure out. That's why I always sort of. I mean, I feel like one of the big things that keeps me kind of sane, especially as you sort of get older, whatever, is that like I've always done the thing I loved, like no matter what anyone ever said, I always followed that, and I think if you're doing something, doesn't have to be like a big success or any of this shit. Like, so if you have something that you love, that will and you do that, if you have to do it in your spare time around your job, which is what I've had to do my whole life, like that will keep you that will keep your soul kind of satisfied, that will keep you feeling good, I think. Obviously everybody has different situations in life, some better than others, but I don't know, I just think that's like I don't know, following your dreams is sort of quite an important thing to do, I think, no matter how big or small.
I mean, when I was saying that thing, do you think you should be bigger? I guess more.
Mm,
What I mean by that is that and I'll stop blowing the smoke up your ass after this. But you do write such good songs, and like,
thanks.
do you? I feel really sorry for people in bands. I feel really sorry for people
Mm,
in I don't want to say guitar bands because what does that even mean? But do you know what I mean? Kind of
yeah,
in indie rock bands, kind of, I feel really
yeah.
sorry for people in because that music just feels so unsupported by the infrastructure of the music industry that it
Oh
once
yeah,
did. Does that
100%.
does that kind of test your not patience, but does that kind of test
Mm.
your I mean, do you find that a bit soul destroying?
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. It's one of those weird things. I've thought about it before. Why is it like, if you're doing like almost all these other sort of big mainstream genres, if you like they get like put up so big. The airwaves is, the mainstream radio. Like we've had some, great support from like Radio One and like other places, but the majority of some of that daytime stuff is all kind of a certain thing. You don't really get any like protest music, real decent rock and roll. There's a few of them, don't get me wrong, but there's not loads of them that make it to those kind of. And I don't know why that is, but I mean, I always wonder if it's because whoever is pulling the strings, doesn't. They're bands that like try to rally people together and talk about injustices and things like that, or just have an attitude about them that is anti-establishment. I wonder if that's not what they want on the radio. They want people to listen to stuff that's going to make them just be like, yeah, this is a nice tune. Yeah, nothing's going to really make them. I don't know. That's my conspiracy side, maybe.
Yeah,
But I do wonder though, because rock and roll is the original protest kind of and punk. Like I thought. I see, there's some punk bands. I think why don't they get played on daytime radio? Like hardly ever. Why is it the daytime radio is only this really sort of like family friend? Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's very
no, no,
weird.
no. I think pardon me. I think what you say is interesting. I think that I'm quite. I've been on a bit of a journey with my kind of own political beliefs in kind of recent years.
Mm,
I feel like I've
mm,
really questioned a lot of things I believe and kind of solidified certain things I believe. And actually,
mm,
I have come to a bit of a place where I would still like my music to be more. I'm almost like weary of saying the idea of being more political because so much like political
mm.
music is so boring. But like I would be, I think about this. There's that song by the Buzzcocks called "I Believe," and I think that's one of the
Yeah.
best. I think that's one of the best political songs I've ever heard because it's like
Mm,
it's not preachy and it's so personal and there's a lot of like emotion, personality in it. But I actually
yeah.
I went to see a band the other day who went on this big monologue about a
Mm,
situation in the world, and they were so uneducated and so uninformed that I was almost like,
mm.
God, I really wish you just played that love song that you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like
Totally.
I would like more of that, but I also
Mm,
just would like people to read a few more books before they say things.
100%.
I kind of feel like
Yeah.
our culture is so dumb at the moment.
Oh yeah, big time. I think well, your phones and stuff, like, TikTok and all that stuff, it does train you to have no attention span, for anything like a book, like you're having a fucking laugh. A book that takes weeks,
Yeah,
like you
totally.
watch a video like in 2 seconds, so all this stuff is training us to be really dumb and not able to sort of do anything. um
I had this conversation with a band the other day called Crime in Stereo.
yeah.
Really good band that did an episode the other day, and he was a school teacher, and he was talking about just the over reliance, or how
Mm,
so many of the kids he teaches kind of live within this bubble. And I hate criticizing the youth, right? Because when I was young, I
yeah.
was like, "Shut up, granddad!" If anyone did that with me, but
Yeah.
it does worry me because there's just all of this information. Like we literally have
Yeah.
like libraries in our pockets, but we're all kind of
Mm,
in these bubbles and being validated by,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, the algorithm is designed, isn't it, to show you what you already think.
yeah,
It's not really designed to challenge what you think. And I mean, people generally are bad at sort of being challenged on their views anyway, especially when they're political, like it's like what you were saying when we start talking about this, like you're trying to, be open-minded and rethink how you think about certain things. Like that kind of self-awareness is rare. It feels like it's rare, like to be able to actually look and at yourself and be like, is what I think about this based in any real, like any sort of real solid information? That's what I think with the politics thing. I mean, I don't get too political. There's a couple of there are political lines here and there in our music. On this new album, there's a couple of more politically kind of things. Politically, that's not a word, I don't think, but yeah, a few more political
I'll
kind
allow
of
it. I'll
bits.
allow it.
But yeah, but
It
I
is
don't.
weird.
But I agree that I don't. Sorry, I was just gonna say
No, no,
I
no, go
don't
on.
like. I don't want to be somebody that makes any strong comments about things without being well researched in a subject. But then, how do you become well researched when you don't know what information is real? So it's a bit of it's a hard time for a punk band. But I know, like, I feel like I know what I think is morally right and wrong. That's a good place to start. Well, assuming that your morals are,
Well,
in the right
no,
spot.
I was gonna say that. I actually think I've got some friends. I mean, I suppose I would be classified as Gen X, or kind of like
Mm,
really young Gen X. But there's this phrase called Xennial that I always lean into
Exennial.
because, yeah, because it was like this window between Gen X and millennials where
Yeah,
we grew up without the internet, and
yeah.
then as soon as we became adults, the internet was like omnipresent. And I do feel like there's people who I used to knock about with, or do knock about with, like, friends from university or school even, who are so confused about the world now, and they always say to me, "But I don't know I don't know whether what I think is right." And I always go, "Well, yeah, but you've got to trust your own sense of morality. You've got
For
to,
sure.
rather than just like, oh, well, these are what these this is what the consensus say, so therefore."
Mm,
Because there's been times in my life where I've heard like sloganeering, and I've gone, "Oh, that doesn't seem right to me." You
mm,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure. I feel
speak.
bad for the kids today. Sorry, I was gonna say, I just feel bad for people growing up now in this like sort of, because I remember, I mean, I got a Nokia phone when I was in year 8, so I would have been 12 or 13. So you could text, if you had enough credit, and you could play Snake and stuff, but it's nothing like what it is now. I remember going out and playing in the trees, but you see young kids now just, the iPad just glued to their face. Because the thing is, I've found in lockdown, in lockdown I got TikTok. Because one of my friends who actually just does like pop music, he blew up quite big over the last few years. And I was talking to him, and he was saying, get on TikTok. And I was like, ugh. So I got the app, and I found, because it was lockdown, like, and there were days where I wasn't being very productive, and you sort of like, it is addictive. You get addicted to it, especially if you're not feeling good and you can't be bothered to do anything, you have no motivation or something, these like, you get addicted to it. And I've felt myself through the time when I first had it, that when I then came out of that and lockdown was over and I went back to the studio, I could feel my concentration was got, like, not gone, but it was like diminished. Like I was like, I couldn't focus. I mean, I have like ADHD, I think, a little bit anyway, but that they like really they hammer that in. Any sort of like procrastination you're prone to or anything like that gets turned into like this, Transformers sized kind of procrastination, where you can't focus your mind. And so think if you're a kid and like you have that from 5, like all like you are not, I don't know how they're going to do school. Like I don't know how they're going to do it.
I've got addicted to those hydraulic videos. Those.
What's that?
I don't know whether they've come across your timeline, but they're just basically someone. I think they're like Scandinavian, and they own like a hydraulic press, and they just crush things.
Cool. I have seen stuff like that. Yeah,
I watched that all the time. And the other day, I was getting irritated because they were trying to crush glass, and I was like, every time you do glass, it just shatters. You know this. Get some.
We know the outcome.
You know what I mean? Let's get some wine gums in there. They're the best ones when they squirt out.
You want to see stuff get sort of squidged in slow-mo.
I think that we are destined to do a part 2 of this podcast because I don't feel like I've even really got into the nuance of your music, but I'm aware that we're both on a little bit of a schedule, and I also would really like. I would also really.
I was
like
going to say. I mean, I'll talk to you as long as you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, the Ramones. Yeah, great band.
You're so polite. I really thought you'd be like snotty. I don't think
bastard.
No, not a bastard. I guess just like in my head, I thought when I listened to your music, I just sort of imagined you were all as like sort of mischievous goblins, not like not.
Yeah, we've had people. A lot of people say to us that they were. Well, I don't want to say nervous to meet us. People have said they were nervous to meet us in terms of because they thought that we would be horrible. But I think the whole kind of rock star. The romanticized idea of stardom or whatever you want to call it, drugs and sex and all this crazy shit. Like, we don't want to be like a cliche. Like we love meeting new people. Like, and it's such a huge part when you go on tour. So if we're going to go on tour and meet people and just be pricks to everyone, it's like, it's a bad vibe, isn't it, man?
Yeah,
like, I just don't.
I guess I just don't think. I didn't think like knobheads. I guess I just thought. I thought like the Bash Street Kids. Did you ever read the Beano when you were a kid? That was kind of what I thought the band would be. Right, look, because
it's funny you say that. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
My dad, bless his heart, bought me the Beano Annual every year for Christmas, every year until last year. And when he first started buying it for us, my brother, we were like, this, kind of, oh, Dad. But as it went on, it became a thing where it's like, oh, the Beano Annual from Dad. This is like the staple of Christmas. Last year, didn't get it. I asked why. Mum stopped him.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are you doing, Mum? It's the best bit of Christmas.
We started this with mums, and then we're ending it with mums.
Yeah, we've ended
I don't want to diss your mum, but feel free to diss my mum if you want. But I'm not.
We should wrestling match, the two of them.
Love it. My mum's got.
That'd be great.
My mum's got some neck issues actually, so maybe that's maybe like a thumb.
Maybe not wrestling. Maybe a game of Mario Kart.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not sure my mum could handle that either. Actually,
we'll have to teach him.
I'm going to walk through after this. She's going to be playing Mario Kart. Right,
like a pro.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions to wrap this up, and then I think we should do a part 2.
Hell yeah!
First one is what are your plans now? Not like are we going for dinner? But are you?
Yeah.
Like in terms of releases, in terms of touring, like what's on the cards now?
Yeah, so we've got another single coming out. I think on the 15th of December. A song called Antidote. I don't think we've announced that, but but it's so that's going to be interesting because that's a song that was because this is the second album. When you're trying to write stuff for the second album, if you go in with the headspace of let's try and write what people expect, let's try and do something like the first album, you literally can't. You just do bad copies of what you did before, So this was a song where I was like getting fed up of hitting a brick wall trying to do what I did before. And I was like, right, I'm gonna do like the fastest drums I can think of, but are just physically impossible to play for any human. and just see what happens for a laugh. And as it happened, it sounded kind of cool, and I was like, oh, maybe I can use this for Bad Nerves. So it's going to be interesting to see what people think of this track, because it's 265 BPM. The fastest song we had before that was 220. So, but anyway, so that's coming out 15th December, and then we're going on tour with The Darkness in December, which is going to be nuts, with Justin and the crew. He's a legend, by the way. And then next year, new album, more tours. It's gonna be great.
Amazing.
Knackering, but great.
So my second question is, when you are out with The Darkness, will you ask Justin if he'll come on this podcast? Because I love The Darkness and think they are maybe the best band in the world that are the most misunderstood. And also,
big time.
When I was really ill, I had some real mental health problems a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know him, but he reached out to me on Twitter, and he was the loveliest.
Oh, bless him.
I always feel a bit weird saying that stuff, because I always think, oh, well, do people want to kind of keep it, is it embarrassing to people to sort of know that, know that they've done that? But he's so nice. Yeah. He's such for a dude that is, he could be an arsehole if he wanted to be, he's like I'd say like a national treasure almost. Yeah. But I've met him a couple of times and hung out with him. I helped him with his podcast, filming one of his podcasts, and did you?
And he's just well, quite recently, actually, a couple of months ago. But he's just a genuine cool dude, and he knows music beyond he knows music properly. So when I play guitar, I don't know what the hell's going on. He knows what, he's a proper musician. Amazing. But no, he's such a good dude. We can't wait to play with him. Amazing. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. I've never seen them play.
I saw them at the Roundhouse a couple of years ago, like a sort of a Christmas gig. Wicked. And it was still when I was a bit all over the place with my head, and it was genuinely like one of the most. It was almost like one of the first times I'd been happy in quite a long time. It was amazing. Put in a word for me there. And
I will do, mate. Yeah, 100%.
The third question: what's your favourite Ramones song?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day because I was doing an interview where I had to list 10 songs that were like sort of inspired, I guess, the band, if you like. But my favorite song, I kind of was. First thing I went to was Judy as a Punk. Actually, I don't know why, because that just. But then Rockaway Beach is also one of my favorites. It's so poppy, what's that other one? What's that? Today the world, tomorrow. I forgot what that one's called.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's so many, like Cretin Hop. Obviously, we do a cover of Cretin Hop. There's so many good songs. Rockaway Beach is so great. I love that. Blitzkrieg Bop is obviously amazing, but you can't say that because you can't say Blitzkrieg Bop. But that's an incredible song though, man. Jesus, I kind of like. There's a song on this album. It's quite a cool story actually. There's a new song on the album, which is like a Ramones kind of not rip off, but very stylistically. And I was listening to the Ramones, and I was like, I want to do a song that's like a tribute to them. And the funny angle with this song was that John Kennedy, the radio presenter, I don't know if you know John, really nice guy. He sent me. He saw us play in Sweden about a year ago, and really enjoyed the show, and it was like a really good time. And he sent us an email a few days later, and he'd written a load of lyrics for a song because he loves the Ramones and stuff like that. He was like, "I've written a bunch of lyrics. I hope this isn't too weird, but I just thought I'd send them to you. Like, see if you." And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. Like he sent me these lyrics, and it inspired me. So then I went and I wrote this song. It's like, and it turned out to be a really cool song, and that's. It's just such a cool story. So on the credits of the thing, it's going to say like inspired by Ramones and John Kennedy. Like I only really used like one of his lyrics, but I took that one lyric and built the whole kind of song out of it. And but what a cool story! And what a cool thing to do, because so many people, if they thought, oh, I've got this idea of this song, they wouldn't do it because we live in this weird world now, don't we? Where I guess so many artists would probably be like, what the fuck are you doing? Sending me lyrics? I write my own lyrics. You know what I mean? Like, or anything like that. You're putting yourself out there, and you could easily be shot down. But I think that's so cool, and I'm so glad that that song came out of it that's good enough to make this album, because then it's like just such a cool story to be able to tell people, you know.
Yeah,
What a legend.
when I was 19, he found out about the band that I was in, and he gave us a
Yeah,
session and played us like religiously,
sick.
and then he
That
kind
was
of,
awesome.
I was in Sunderland, and he grouped together a load of kind of our peers and our friends, and definitely spent about a month trying to make Sunderland a thing, and I was like, oh, John Kennedy, good guy. Good guy.
Yeah,
He
man,
never
he's
wrote
a
any
good
lyrics
dude.
for me though, so he obviously
Yeah,
he
yeah.
likes your
But
band more than mine.
that's the crazy thing, though, isn't it? I mean, that's never happened to me. Nobody has ever sent me like a load of lyric ideas. Certainly not somebody that is, like it's John Kennedy from, he's like an established radio DJ and has been for a long time. Like, why? It's a bit of a that's what makes the story so magical, because it's so like such a weird situation. I mean, how many other radio DJs of his stature send lyrics to bands that they like? I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Amazing,
It's like so
amazing.
cool. Yeah, really cool.
Bobby, you're the best.
Thank you, mate. You too.
I've enjoyed talking to you an awful lot. Your PR is on the
Me too. It's been
line.
really fun.
Your PR's on the line.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying now. I'm just going to say, Jazz. We need to do a part two of this podcast, maybe when the next record's out. Bobby,
Oh,
thanks
yeah.
so much for your
She's back.
time, man. Oh, is she turned
Thank
up?
you, man. No, thank you so much for your time as well. I appreciate it.